Today, I want to talk about Google Ad skills needed by 2025. And there's two key reasons why I'm bringing this up now. The first reason is bot traffic. Tell me you're not annoyed by bot traffic. Bot traffic is so annoying right now. It's infecting every single campaign. If you're especially starting campaigns out with max clicks and you don't know what to do, and which really should be just shifting conversions as soon as possible. You're just, oh my God, I'm just sending empty clicks all day long and it's not converting. Well, we're going to talk about ways to fix that, but a lot of people kind of just default there and stay there until they get their 40 or 30 conversions over 30 days, right? And it's actually 30 conversions over 30 days. But the question becomes, well, wait a minute, is that even working? Right? Am I just getting endless clicks and nothing's happening? I think we've all been there. Also, too, you have something like Facebook, right? Facebook, if you run campaigns right now, tell me you're not getting a whole bunch of messages saying that you've lost your password and you need to click this to get it back. It's all thieves. That's all that is. But they're seeing the paid ads come through, and they're seizing the moment and going into the paid ads and sending the handle messages, right? And it's intense. It's a whole bunch of those messages now that come through, even though they're in the US. So that tells you what. It's probably a lot of fraud in the US, but is the targeting as good as it could be? Are they using VPNs? All sorts of stuff. So that's one thing. The second thing is AI. AI is really changing the game. Right now it's definitely more tactical. It's looking at, the headlines and developing those, the descriptions, even making YouTube videos based on the images and setting even music and even developing images via AI, etc. That's tactical. Eventually, it's going to be strategic. It's going to be, it is actually doing that with shopping. I'm not sure if you looked at my Google Marketing Live video, but they are, right now, AI is... there is an option where it will make decisions based on a higher margin within your Google Merchant Center SKUs, right? So if you have two SKUs competing against each other, they're both the same price to the consumer, right? They have the same average order value, but the margin is bigger. The profit margin is bigger versus the other one. It'll push the one that has a bigger profit margin. That's all through, AI. That's a strategic move, man. That's cool. Eventually, it'll become far more evolved. Imagine if it could do that. Why couldn't it do a search campaign? Why couldn't it do a demand gen or PMAX campaign? Think about it, my friends. Why doesn't it just take hold and eventually do the conversion campaigns? That will eventually happen. Come on. Look at where it's come, and since last July or August. I mean, it's intense how far AI has come. And now it's just totally disrupting not only Google Ads, but the whole marketplace. So I think, unfortunately, we're going to have to, live with it, adapt it, and use it as part of our toolkit. But here's the situation. It's not so much that AI is going to take our jobs. It's how are we going to evolve the way we approach our client's business? And let's actually talk about that. So here's what I mean. So this is where we're at now, right? And this is kind of where everybody's skill set is right now, probably just to get by, right? And this is actually maybe a little bit dated, but it's by a couple months, right? But now it should be looking a little bit forward. But before, this is what it took to kind of get by in terms of a buyer. You're right? You had to know the ads manager. Okay, that's all. I'm just good with knowing the ads manager, and I'm good. Maybe in setting some conversions, knowing GTM, linking that, etc. But of course, with that comes a lot of responsibility, right? Because when you're doing the ads manager, you're doing easily 60% of the ad budget, right? And so that's a lot of responsibility. If something goes wrong, or client's not happy with traffic. Hey, what are you doing? Oh, let's switch out the creative. Let's do something. And that's smart. Switching out the creative is probably the number one thing you should do. But there's, a lot of emphasis there. And I'm going to talk about that because is it switching out the creative, or is it also switching out the landing page as well, my friends? Right? Is it also A/B testing different iterations and seeing which iteration of the landing page gets the best conversions? Is it also looking at not relying on keywords that have just overperformed and been there forever, and all of a sudden there's an algorithm change? That happens. Before, it was definitely we're talking about max clicks all day long. Well, you need to set the max clicks and get 30 conversions over 30 days. Yeah. How many times have we heard that, man? And that's totally true. I think it is, but I can honestly say I've been in situations where that just that's not cutting it. And yes, you could say, well, it's the ads or it's the campaigns, but it's also the landing pages, my friends. And it's also what are the quality of those clicks, right? So that means we got to make sure that when you send that traffic through, whether it be max clicks or whether it be conversion traffic, which is highly more qualified, is that IC, ATC being, or even payment method being filled in. That's what you need to look at. Is it really looking at purchases all day long? You're just getting to make sure you get those purchases? No, it's making sure that you get those initiate checkouts, build those, get those add to carts in, get that payment method, get that purchase in. And is there more than a 50% drop off in between each one of those events? I don't know, really. So that's what I'm talking about. It's not just relying on one landing page and just sending a whole bunch of money and traffic through. That's what got us here in the first place, right? The next one is sales is your only KPI. As I was just saying, really, it's looking at we have to fill in. We have to make sure the traffic's based on different landing page iterations, based on different creative and different targeting. Is your initiate checkout and all that stuff filling in? Again, that's exactly what I was talking about a second ago. Also, too, sending traffic to the home page. There are some people who just love to do that all day long. Well, it's really that's fine, but you also need to make sure you have different splash stages going on, etc. Search is the way. Oh, this one's my favorite. This one, you go into forums, you talk to your friends. Everybody's it's funny. These people just get raised on search, and they're just all about search all day long. And that cost per click, man, it doesn't matter if the cost per click's $5 if it's a $50 conversion, right? And the products, the average order values $700. That means you made like 5 ROAS, right? So think about it from that kind of point of view. That it's great to be focused on cost per click, but you also need to be focused on conversion. And I understand there's a high cost per click sometimes, but really you have to understand that it's searches. That's where a lot of this traffic's coming from, my friends. And then you have some like arbitrage and these other people that inflate the cost per clicks on the keywords that are in demand. That's called arbitrage. That's a crazy thing going on right now. And if it's a big deal if you get flagged for doing that. That's actually a very bad thing to do. But that's the kind of games going on, my friends. So really it's yes, search is the way, but also PMAX is the way too. Demand gens wasn't invented just to not do anything, right? And then, you have PMAX for shopping feed as well. So, are you looking beyond search, right? There's a whole complement that we need to look at. And are you placing too much emphasis on search and not using, say, YouTube, or not using demand gen, or not using these upper funnel keywords as opposed to just using, search for just conversions all day long? It's now that way does work, but it's really making sure that you have a good funnel and you're not over relying on certain terms. Single keyword ad group, again, that was the way. Really, it's stag now. Single theme or single topic ad group. That's what you should be using. And what does that mean? Well, that means broad, my friends. That means looking at what you're, running those terms, or running that particular stag campaign, and then analyzing the search term reports, blocking out the negative keywords you don't want, looking at the CTR, and first of all, making sure there's conversion matching, but also if there's CTR and there's not conversion matching, why is that not happening? Because a high CTR with no conversions, that's a mismatch. That means there's probably a landing page mismatch. And that's where I'm talking about, my friends, because it's not always about it's not about the ads manager and search. Sometimes it's about what happens at post click. Are you using unbounce? Are you have to have additional tool sets in your tool belt, and not just send them to all these options, but kind of navigate their journey, right? And that's where you'll get those sales. I spend and I get, again, it kind of goes back to what I was saying. I think the days are kind of over where you just kind of force those conversions through. Really, again, it's about honing that, getting that good quality traffic in, and understanding, that you're optimizing either through conversions or high CTR to get those people in. and you're mitigating, and also to conversion value. Conversion value is what eventually mitigates out the bot traffic. It's that feedback loop that happens, as opposed to, or even conversion traffic or conversions optimizations. It's that feedback that lowers the bot traffic. It's not just doing max clicks, because max clicks is just max clicks. That's all it is. These non-brand keywords are working. Leave it alone. Yeah, that's actually what I was saying. I just did an audit. This is funny. I just did an audit for somebody, and when we finished, he had his brand terms, and then he had some great keywords, but then he had like a whole bunch of other keywords that just weren't working, and he just loved these keywords, right? So I said, hey, you have these other keywords. They're not really divided in campaigns, or, and you can only use, really it kind of optimizes always to one ad group, really. And I kind of said, well, hey, why aren't you breaking out the ad groups? I think there's a lot of potential here. And I knew this because some of the other non-performing terms, right, had a high CTR, but weren't converting. And he was like, no, I just know my terms. I know my terms. I know what does well. And, it's been like this for 2 years. And I said, yes, that's fine. That's cool. But I think these keywords are smart. Okay. They're getting high CTR, but there's a mismatch. They're not converting. Why are they aren't converting? Have you ever done any homework into that? Have you tried to break them out in their own campaign, et cetera? And, just so you have you'd have your keywords, but you shouldn't be dependent on them, because here's what's going to happen. All it takes is a Google algorithm change. All it takes is for your competitors, 3 of them, to gang up on you and then outbid you. And then what do you have? You don't have those keywords anymore. They're gone. Then you have to have those other keywords in the backup working. You shouldn't be dependent on just these keywords. And yeah, I mean, if you're a lawyer and you have personal injury, yeah, that makes sense. But you should eventually have other terms, and you should be optimizing and cleaning the ones that have low CTR and no conversions. But if they have high CTR with no conversions, you need to ask those questions. And that's what I was talking about. Is that our job, right? And if it's making different landing pages for different squeeze pages, actually for different non-brand terms, then that's what you got to do. That's your recommendation. So now we're going to go into how are we adapting. So first of all, I was talking about the emphasis on Ads Manager. Really, it's today. It's building upon these skills. I don't want to make it sound like these skills are not, are garbage. It's really the emphasis on Ads Manager, and it's an emphasis on the GA debug tool and the GTM preview tool. Because have you test fired your conversions? Have you test fired your purchases? Have you developed a promo code from the client and just made sure that the purchases were working? And it's funny. I see that all the time. Oh yeah, my conversions aren't firing. And I'll be like, did you test it in GA debug and GTM preview? That's what it's there for, my friends. And you have to do both. You have to do both to make it work. So I don't know. Max click settings, really, it's about that, but it's also about conversions, conversion value, and TROAS. TROAS is at the end of the journey, but when you're setting the max clicks, that's all you're getting. You have to take that notch up and do conversions and conversions value as well eventually, because you just don't want to be just feeding it just max clicks all the time. So if it's not converting, you have to analyze why it's not converting, either if it's max clicks or if you switch the target to conversions just to get the more better traffic. But if it's not converting, you need to take a step back and be like, okay, hold on, people, like let's find out why. And it's usually, like I said, landing page issue, could be an audience issue, but if the CTR and the offer are good, well, that should be working. Sales is your only KPI. We talked about that. Conversion tracking, send traffic to the homepage. Our job is to recommend, moving forward, my friends, more landing pages for each campaign. Really, it is. Like, if there's an effort, you need to make sure you have different landing page iterations to make sure it's working. And I'm talking even for products. So I'm not just even saying like, okay, so for shoes, it's this, or for this particular brand, it's this. It should be like 2 of those for this, because you want to create a testing environment that's constantly optimizing to a better path to conversions. But in essence, with that particular client, if she does so many different shoes, right, there should be a pattern where it's like, well, wait a minute, this did good here, this did good there in terms of the landing page. Maybe there's a pattern, and this should be the way we should be doing it, and then keep iterating, right? I kind of still want to hear that, because it takes more it takes more budget to make a landing page, but at the same time, if you're dropping tens of thousands of dollars a month, what's another couple $100 for a landing page? Because all it takes to make another landing page is a copy of the one you have. You're not designing a new one from scratch. You're just changing the arrangement to just change out the conversion of flow, right? Or path to conversion. Search, right? We talked about that. It's really about PMAX in search now. You really should be, using more of, PMAX for non-brand terms, search for brand. That's the way I've been doing it. And then analyzing you can pull reporting in PMAX to understand which terms are being used for non-brand. Single keyword advert, really, it's all about single theme or single topic ad group. I get the money. Really, it's about understanding your attribution windows, right? And it's really understanding, okay, well, when you do that sale, how long does it take? Is it right? Is it wrong? If you have a $200 item, do you expect somebody to convert within a week, a month? Really look at the metrics and understand, $200 really now is, I hate to say it is a lot of money to me, but, unfortunately, because of inflation, it's a lot of money to, it's lost a little bit of its value, right? So it's not as expensive as it used to be, but still, how long does it take for that $300, $400 sale versus $50? And do you have the right conversions, the attribution window for the delay, right? Is it 7 days or should it be 30 days? You should be able to understand that and work with a client to kind of speculate what it'll be, but also look at under the goals, there is a measurement button. Under that is the attribution number, which tells you that. And you can discuss it with the client as well. As keywords are not working, find out why they're not working, right? Or they are working, but the ones that aren't, find out why they're not. And that should help you a lot. Again, it's great to be relying on certain keywords, but you really need to build on those. You can't be over reliant on these hero keywords and eventually one day your competitors just buy you out and you're screwed, right? So you should have different options available at your fingertips or within your campaigns. So I think that's it for now, everybody. Thank you so much for watching. We're going to actually be doing a live show very soon. So I expect to happen within 30 days, and anybody can come in and ask questions, and we can have a discussion. I always see it on the comments. I had some great questions that actually appeared today that I'm going to be answering. So thank you so much for your time, and happy buying. Thank you so much.